All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Lalema Aneja Dang and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 situation in the country. Says India can defeat corona pandemic again like last year. Asks officials to utilize entire national capacity to step up vaccine production. Pharma companies reduce prices of remdesivir injections after centre's intervention. DRDO to reopen its COVID hospital in Delhi Cant today. Railways to impose fine up to 500 rupees for not wearing face mask in trains and station premises. More than 12 crore 25 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Fifth phase of assembly elections in West Bengal records 78.36% voter turnout. National Climate Vulnerability Assessment identifies 8 eastern states as highly vulnerable to climate change. India's Mirabai Chanu creates a new clean and jerk world record at Asian Weightlifting Championships in Tashkent. And Mumbai Indians beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by 13 runs in IPL cricket. As the number of COVID cases are on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower the guard, follow all precautions and all those above 45 years to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that together India had defeated COVID-19 last year and the country can do it again with the same principles but faster speed and coordination. The Prime Minister said this while chairing a meeting to review the status of preparedness to handle the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Various aspects relating to medicines, oxygen, ventilators and vaccination were discussed during the meeting. Mr. Modi stressed that there is no substitute to testing, tracking and treatment. He said early testing and proper tracking remains key to reduce mortality. The Prime Minister said that local administrations need to be proactive and sensitive to people's concerns. The Prime Minister directed that close coordination with states must be ensured in handling the pandemic. He said that all necessary measures must be taken up to ramp up the availability of hospital beds for COVID patients. The Prime Minister also directed that additional supply of beds through temporary hospitals and isolation centres should be ensured. Mr. Modi also spoke about the need to utilize the full potential of India's pharmaceutical industry to meet the rising demand of various medicines. He reviewed the status of supply of remdesivir drug and other medicines. The Prime Minister was briefed on actions taken to address the issue of availability of remdesivir. Through the efforts of the government, capacity and production augmentation for manufacturing of remdesivir drug has been ramped up to provide around 74.10 lakh vials per month in May, while the normal production output in January-February being just 27 to 29 lakh vials per month. Supplies have also increased from nearly 68,000 vials on 11th April, going up to over 2,06,000 vials on the 15th of this month, which are being particularly focused on states with high caseload and high demand. Mr. Modi took note of the ramped-up production capacity and directed that issues relating to real-time supply chain management to states must be resolved urgently in coordination with the states. The Prime Minister directed that use of remdesivir and other medicines must be in accordance with approved medical guidelines and that their misuse and black marketing must be strictly curbed.
On the issue of supply of medical oxygen, Mr. Modi directed that the installation of approved medical oxygen plants should be sped up. 162 pressure swing adsorption PSA oxygen plants are being installed in 32 states and union territories from PM CARES Fund. The officials informed that 1 lakh cylinders are being procured and they will be supplied to states soon. The officers briefed the Prime Minister that they are in constant supply with 12 high-burden states in assessing the current and future requirement of medical oxygen. A supply mapping plan for 12 high-burden states till 30th of this month is also been undertaken. The Prime Minister also said that supply of oxygen required for production of medicines and equipment necessary to handle the pandemic should also be ensured. Mr. Modi also reviewed the status of availability and supply of ventilators. On the issue of vaccination, the Prime Minister directed all officials to make efforts to utilize the entire national capacity in public as well as private sector to ramp up vaccine production. Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba, Principal Secretary to Prime Minister Dr. P.K. Mishra, Union Home Secretary Ajay Kumar Bhalla, Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan, Pharma Secretary S. Aparna and Member Health in Niti Aayog Dr. V.K. Paul were present at the meeting.
The price of remdesivir injection has been reduced following government's intervention. The National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority said major pharma companies have announced voluntary price cuts for remdesivir injections after centers' intervention to ensure its affordable availability. Cadila Healthcare's Remdac will now cost 899 rupees instead of 2,800 rupees. Syngene International's Remwin will now cost 2,450 rupees instead of 3,950 rupees. Dr. Reddy's Redix will be available at 2,700 rupees instead of 5,400 rupees. Cipla's Cipremi will cost 3,000 rupees instead of 4,000 rupees. Mylan Pharmaceuticals Desrem will be available at 3,400 rupees instead of 4,800 rupees. Jubilant's Generics Jubi-R will now cost 3,400 rupees instead of 4,700 rupees. And Hetero Healthcare's Covi-4 will be available at 3,490 rupees instead of 5,400 rupees.
The cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country has crossed more than 12 crore 25 lakh mark. The Union Health Ministry in a statement said a total of 25,65,179 vaccine doses were administered till 8 p.m. last evening on the 92nd day of nationwide COVID-19 vaccination. Over 60,000 COVID vaccination centers were operational yesterday. The total vaccination coverage includes over 91,27,000 healthcare workers who have taken the first dose and more than 57 lakh healthcare workers who took the second dose of COVID vaccine. Besides, over 1 crore 12 lakh frontline workers received the first dose and about 55 lakh such workers took the second dose. There are over 4 crore beneficiaries of over 45 years to 60 years old who have received the first dose, while over 10 lakh took the second dose. National capital Delhi yesterday reported 24,375 new cases of COVID-19, the highest single-day spike till date. With the fresh cases, Delhi's cumulative tally has risen to 8,27,998. The city also reported 167 deaths, the highest single-day fatality count till date. With this, the death toll stands at 11,960. The city's positivity rate went up to 24.56%, the highest so far. The containment zones in Delhi amounted to 11,235. Delhi government's health bulletin said 15,414 persons recovered from COVID-19 in the last 24 hours.
Defence Research and Development Organisation DRDO will reopen its Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel COVID Hospital in Delhi Cant today. The facility was shut in the first week of February after daily COVID-19 cases came down. The 1,000-bed DRDO medical facility got 250 additional ICU beds last November to provide treatment to patients. This took the total number of ICU beds at the hospital to 500. The hospital was built by DRDO in a record time of 12 days with the assistance from the Armed Forces, Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and Tata Trust. The facility became operational in July last year. The Delhi government has made home quarantine of 14 days mandatory for the residents of National Capital who visited the Kumbh Mela in Haridwar. All those who have visited Kumbh on the 4th of April onwards will have to upload personal and journey details on Delhi government's website. People who are visiting Kumbh will also have to share the details with the government. If one will not upload the details, they will be sent to institutional quarantine for 14 days. District magistrates will ensure tracing and surveillance of people on daily basis. The violators will face legal action.
In Gujarat, people coming back from Kumbh Mela will be tested for COVID-19 infections and isolated. The announcement was made by Chief Minister Vijay Rupani at Jamnagar yesterday. He said that all district collectors have been instructed to follow these guidelines strictly. Mr. Rupani was in Kutch and Jamnagar districts to review the COVID-19 situations. Our Ahmedabad correspondent reports new cases of COVID-19 continue to surge in Gujarat.
Gujarat has recorded 9,541 new cases of COVID-19 yesterday. Maximum 3,241 new cases reported from Ahmedabad, while Surat recorded 1,720 new cases. 3,783 patients recovered and were discharged from the various hospitals. 97 patients lost their lives yesterday. With this, the death toll has reached up to 5,267. Gujarat has now 55,398 active cases at present, out of which 304 patients are on ventilator. Meanwhile, 1,56,663 persons have been vaccinated in the state yesterday. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
In Madhya Pradesh, the lockdown has been extended till 26th April in several districts including Bhopal, Indore, Ujjain, Ratlam and Rajgarh. At the same time, more than 11,000 corona infections were reported in the state in the past 24 hours. We have more from our Bhopal correspondent.
Bhopal Collector Avinash Lavania informed that during the corona curfew, strictness will be more and action will be taken against those who roam unnecessarily. In the past 24 hours, 1,669 people have been infected in Bhopal. In Indore too, the corona curfew has been extended till April 26 after the reporting of 1,656 new cases. 1,029 new cases have been reported in Gwalior, while around 800 new cases in Jabalpur. Now the number of active patients in Madhya Pradesh has increased to about 64,000. Meanwhile, those returning to the state from Kumbh will be quarantined. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Chhattisgarh, the lockdown period has been extended in 5 districts including Raipur to prevent the spread of corona infection. In Raipur, Durg and Jashpur districts, complete lockdown has been extended till the 26th of this month. Besides, in Raigarh and Korba districts, the lockdown has now been extended to the 27th of April. Meanwhile, a lockdown is being imposed in Dantewada district of Bastar division from today and in Narayanpur district from tomorrow. So far, orders have been issued for complete lockdown in 22 out of 28 districts in Chhattisgarh. Here's more from our Raipur correspondent.
The state government has instructed private hospitals to ensure round-the-clock availability of oxygen in 70% of the total beds. Besides, the state government has also decided that contractual recruitment of retired doctors as well as private physicians, nurses and paramedical staff will be done to ensure the availability of human resources in the dedicated COVID hospitals and COVID care centers set up in various districts. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel has directed the various district administrations to ensure door-to-door delivery of essential services including fruits, vegetables, milk, ration and LPG in view of the convenience of the people during the lockdown period. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
Meanwhile, 4 people were killed in a fire at Rajdhani Hospital in Raipur yesterday. The fire was caused by a short circuit and all victims were COVID patients. Other patients were shifted to different hospitals. Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel expressed grief over the incident and announced a compensation of 4 lakh rupees each to the family of the deceased.
In Uttar Pradesh, presumptive COVID patients will be treated as COVID positive and their treatment will be done accordingly. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has ordered to treat such patients as corona positive and asked hospitals to treat and admit such patients in separate wards in COVID hospitals. It will apply on those patients whose corona report is negative but their CT scan and other symptoms are according to the COVID positive patients. Bihar recorded its highest single-day spike in coronavirus cases so far as 7,870 more people tested positive for COVID-19 and 51 people died of the virus in the past 24 hours. The last 50,000 cases have been added in just 17 days. The army recruitment rally, which was scheduled to begin at Danapur, Katihar, Muzaffarpur and Ranchi from 25th of this month has been postponed in view of corona pandemic. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar said the state government will take the final call today whether to impose lockdown or exercise other options to contain the spread of COVID-19, which has touched even in the rural areas of the state.
West Bengal reported the highest single-day spike of over 7,700 coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours. The total COVID-19 cases have crossed 6,51,000 in the state, with 34 fresh fatalities. Already 61 hospitals in the state have been dedicated for treatment of COVID patients. Almost 1,800 beds have ICU or HDU facilities. The state government has issued a fresh advisory to tackle the surge of COVID cases. Here's more from our Kolkata correspondent.
In an attempt to effectively control and contain the spread of COVID pandemic in the poll-bound state with 3 more phases to go, the West Bengal government has issued a fresh advisory and posted 21 senior IAS officers as nodal officers in districts last night. The officers have been asked to visit the districts immediately and guide the administration on COVID crisis management. The advisory stresses upon effective enforcement of COVID protocol like wearing masks, sanitization and physical distancing in crowded places. Attendance in state government establishments will not exceed more than 50% in a single day. It also stresses upon ensuring staggering of walk in shops, markets, industrial and commercial establishments. Madhuparna Dharshodhuri, AIR News, Kolkata.
In Ladakh, District Magistrate of Leh has ordered closure of all educational institutions till the 30th of this month. Our correspondent has filed this report.
In an order issued yesterday night, the district magistrate has ordered the concerned authorities to close educational institutions to impart on campus or in-person education to the students of all the classes, including intermediate classes. However, it has also ordered to resume the online classes during the closure period. Meanwhile, one death case due to coronavirus infection was reported in the past 24 hours in Leh district. Ladakh also witnessed highest daily spike today as 362 more new cases was reported during the past 24 hours. With this, the total tally of active cases is now 1,671 in the Union Territory. Youngchan Dolma for AIR News from Leh, Ladakh.
Mumbai Police has issued a fresh set of guidelines for those travelling by their vehicles. The move is aimed at containing novel coronavirus in Maharashtra and part of state government's break the chain efforts. A report from our Mumbai correspondent.
As per the new guidelines, vehicles with color-coded stickers will be allowed to travel on the roads from today. The use of red, green and yellow stickers has been introduced to ensure strict implementation of the restrictions imposed by the Maharashtra government to control the spread of coronavirus. The red color has been given to the medical fraternity. It includes doctor, medical staff, ambulances and those engaged in supplying medical equipment will have to sport red stickers, while vehicles transporting food, vegetables, fruits, groceries, dairy products, etc. will have green stickers. People employed in essential services such as civic officials, personnel of electricity, telephone and press department will have to stick yellow stickers on their vehicle. If anyone found putting wrong stickers, will be prosecuted under the IPC Act of Cheating. Pooja Pal, AIR News, Mumbai.
Railways will impose a fine of up to 500 rupees for not wearing face masks in trains and station premises. The decision has been taken in line with the preventive measures taken by the Centre against the coronavirus disease. Railway Ministry has written a letter to the general managers of all zonal railways in this regard. You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 situation in the country. Says India can defeat corona pandemic again like last year. Asks officials to utilize entire national capacity to step up vaccine production. Pharma companies reduce prices of remdesivir injections after centre's intervention. DRDO to reopen its COVID hospital in Delhi camps today. Railways to impose fine up to 500 rupees for not wearing face mask in trains and station premises. More than 12 crore 25 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Fifth phase of assembly elections in West Bengal records 78.36% voter turnout. National Climate Vulnerability Assessment identifies 8 eastern states as highly vulnerable to climate change. India's Mirabai Chanu creates a new clean and jerk world record at Asian Weightlifting Championships in Tashkent. And Mumbai Indians beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by 13 runs in IPL cricket. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The Election Commission has said that 78.36% polling has been recorded in the fifth phase of assembly elections in West Bengal. Voting took place yesterday in 15,789 polling stations spread across 45 assembly constituencies in West Bengal. Simultaneously, polling was also held for by-elections to 2 Lok Sabha seats, including Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh and Belgaum in Karnataka, along with 12 assembly constituencies across 10 states. After the completion of fifth phase of assembly polls, campaigning has reached its feverish pitch for the sixth phase in West Bengal. The state is witnessing 8-phase election. 43 assembly constituencies spread over 4 districts will go to polls in this phase on the 22nd of this month. Due to the 72-hour silent period imposed by the Election Commission, campaigning for the sixth phase will end tomorrow. BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah will hold public meetings and roadshows in Purbanchali, Swarupnagar and Habra assembly segments today. Trinamool Congress leader and Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is holding public rallies and roadshows today in Tehatta, Krishnanagar Dakshin, North 24 Parganas and Bhawanipur in Kolkata.
National Climate Vulnerability Assessment has identified 8 eastern states as highly vulnerable to climate change. The report has identified Jharkhand, Mizoram, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Assam, Bihar, Arunachal Pradesh and West Bengal as states highly vulnerable to climate change. The report pointed out that these states, mostly in the eastern part of the country, require prioritization of adaptation interventions. The report, titled Climate Vulnerability Assessment for Adaptation Planning in India Using a Common Framework, was released by the Department of Science and Technology Secretary Professor Ashutosh Sharma yesterday. He said they have seen how extreme events are on rise both in terms of their number and severity. He said mapping the parts of India that are vulnerable to such changes will help initiate climate actions at the ground level. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha will share his thoughts in his monthly radio broadcast, Awam Ki Awaaz, at 11 a.m. today. It will be broadcast by all stations of All India Radio across Jammu and Kashmir, apart from the regional Doordarshan channels of DD Kashmir and Doordarshan Jammu. It will be the first episode of the program. The move is aimed at strengthening the concept of Jan Bhagidhari by inviting the participation of the people of Jammu and Kashmir at large. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
The Awam Ki Awaaz is a half-an-hour long radio broadcast and will be aired every third Sunday of the month. It is one of the many sequential steps of broader programs taken by the Jammu and Kashmir government. Awam Ki Awaaz is a novel initiative of the Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, which aims at disseminating the progressive steps taken by the administration and seeks feedback from the public. Now, with this initiative, the Jammu and Kashmir administration is giving a determined push to strengthen the government-public relationship by inviting suggestions from the public and seeking their active participation in the policy formation. Sunil Kohl, AIR News from Srinagar.
Eminent Hindi author Narendra Kohli passed away yesterday. President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief on the demise of the renowned literator. In a tweet, President Ramnath Kovind said, Dr. Kohli made a special contribution to the Hindi literature world. Mr. Kovind said, Dr. Kohli, who was honored with the Padma Shri, presented country's mythological narratives to the world in a modern perspective. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said Dr. Kohli will always be remembered for his lively portrayal of mythological and historical characters in literature. Czech Republic has said that it will expel 18 Russian diplomats identified by local intelligence as secret agents of Russia that are suspected to be involved in a 2014 explosion. Foreign Minister Jan Hamáček said that 18 employees of the Russian embassy must leave Czech Republic within 48 hours. Prime Minister Andrej Babiš said Czech authorities had clear evidence linking Russian officers to an explosion in an ammunition warehouse in 2014, which left 2 people dead.
India's Mirabai Chanu made a splendid return to the weightlifting arena, setting a new world record in the clean and jerk by lifting a massive 119 kilogram. The former world champion also bettered her own national record to clinch a bronze medal in the women's 49 kg category at the Asian Weightlifting Championships at Tashkent in Uzbekistan yesterday. The 26-year-old Chanu lifted 86 kg in a snatch and a world record of 119 kg in clean and jerk for a total of 205 kg. Her clean and jerk world record of 119 kg went past Chinese lifter Jiang Huihua's previous record of 118 kg. Chanu also confirmed the Tokyo Olympic spot. The gold medal went to Hua Shui of China, who created a new world record in snatch and total weight with an effort of 213 kg, while her compatriot Jiang Hua clinched the silver. In IPL cricket, Mumbai Indians defeated Sunrisers Hyderabad by 13 runs in a thrilling encounter at M.A. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai last night. Chasing a victory target of 151 runs, Sunrisers Hyderabad were bowled out for 137 with 2 balls to spare. Earlier, Mumbai Indians won the toss and elected to bat first. Today, Royal Challenger Bangalore will take on Kolkata Knight Riders at M.A. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai. In another encounter, Delhi Capitals will lock on with Punjab Kings at Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast for today. National capital Delhi with clear sky will have maximum temperature around 36 degrees Celsius. The minimum was 17. Mumbai with a clear sky is likely to see a maximum temperature of around 33 degrees Celsius, rising from a lower level of 23 degrees. Chennai is expected to have a partly cloudy sky. The upper limit of temperature will be 36 degrees Celsius, while the lower limit was 27 degrees. Kolkata will have a clear sky. The city temperature will move from a minimum of 27 degrees Celsius to a maximum of around 36 degrees. Srinagar will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain, and Jammu will have a partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Leh is expected to have a light snow, and the upper limit of temperature will be around 10 degrees. Gilgit will have overcast sky, and temperature will move from a minimum of 0 to a maximum of 11 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad is also likely to have thunderstorm with rain. The temperature will increase from a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius to a maximum of around 24 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Make rest of Kumbh only symbolic, PM, is a Hindustan Times headline. 2 Mahamandaleshwars have already succumbed to the viral disease, even as the Shahi Snans so far have seen participation by millions, says the report. Delhi under lockdown still registers record 24k cases, reports the Asian Age. The Sunday Tribune reports that Himachal Pradesh is preparing action plan to tackle a drought-like situation. Delhi gasping for oxygen, headlines a Pioneer, quoting the Delhi Chief Minister also pointing to a spike in cases in just 24 hours. As Mirabai Chanu setting a new world record at the Asian Weightlifting Championship at Tashkent is a major story on the sports pages of most papers. And finally, the Financial Express reports of a rising new trend in advertising that are using character actors for brand endorsement. The A-list actors are distant while the consumers connect more with microstar.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 situation in the country, says India can defeat corona pandemic again like last year. Asks officials to utilize entire national capacity to step up vaccine production. Pharma companies reduce prices of remdesivir injections after centre's intervention. DRDO to reopen its COVID hospital in Delhi Cant today. Railways to impose fine up to 500 rupees for not wearing face mask in trains and station premises. More than 12 crore 25 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. The 5th phase of assembly elections in West Bengal records 78.36% voter turnout. National Climate Vulnerability Assessment identifies 8 eastern states as highly vulnerable to climate change. India's Mirabai Chanu creates a new clean and jerk world record at Asian Weightlifting Championships in Tashkent. And Mumbai Indians beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by 13 runs in IPL cricket. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.